Assalamualaikum everyone. Good evening. Thank you for all. Okay, so tonight we have the immense privilege of welcoming a truly unique thought leader who bridges the strategic world of program management with the cutting-edge frontier of artificial intelligence. Our guest speaker, Dr. Abdullah Mansoor, is an AI consultant, author, and trainer who is literally building the future. Dr. Mansoor is a certified project management professional and PMP, holding both strategic and technical mastery. Early in his career, he served as the head of the PMO at TradeKey, where he developed a PMO framework that significantly boosted project completion efficiency. He then spent nearly a decade at Intel Corporation, where his expertise as a senior machine learning engineer was utilized to lead mission-critical projects, pioneering ML-based systems for semiconductor design that resulted in a remarkable 10x increase in workflow efficiency. Today, he channels the experience into creating autonomous AI agents and enterprise solutions focusing on real-world business automation. Dr. Mansoor's journey from building foundational PMO structures to deploying sophisticated reinforcement learning agents offers invaluable insights into how we, as project leaders, must adapt to the age of automation. He's here tonight to share his knowledge of how AI is optimizing decision-making and project delivery. Please join Dr. Abdullah Mansoor.
Thank you so much. I'm really grateful to Fahd who invited me on this session. We met like almost 10 years ago when I was about to leave Karachi. It was a very fruitful discussion, and that reminded me of my career. Seems like I was working in project management and then I transitioned into engineering. And let me briefly tell you a bit of story about that. Just before leaving, I attended this $1 billion management program by Asadullah Chaudhry, and he came back from Oxford, and whatever he was learning there, he tried to teach us back. So it was like a crowdfunding that he used to did his Oxford masters, and so I mean it was great learning. And one of the things that I learned from that program is that breakthrough programs. That if you want to do something, I mean, one is basic programs. The program can be divided into many categories. But if you want to do a breakthrough program, then you have to be not only, project management professional, but also like you have to be really technical. So that becomes my motivation, and I wanted to do something which will help me not only manage but also transform things. And my journey at Intel was very fruitful. All the knowledge that I've learned from project management, it helped me in two ways. First of all, like Intel being a very very innovative company, building the latest generation PCs, always competing with trying to capture the total area of the total addressable market. So their practices in project and program management were really kind of thought-provoking for me, because the way they do things were very different from everybody else. Anyhow, today's topic is how to lead the AI shift, and again, this AI topic is so multidisciplinary. My goal today is not to cover everything about AI, but if you are trying to build AI first strategy, then that will help you evaluate whether you're going in the right direction, and if you're thinking about it, it will help you how to think about it. Just searching for the point. Okay, sorry. Okay, so let me do a quick survey. So I just want, if you could raise your hand if you think that the AI wave that we're seeing right now is a bubble. And there's a lot of debate on internet going on that whether this AI is going to be sustainable or it's going to be a bubble that's going to die. So can you raise your hand if you think that AI is a bubble?
No, it isn't.
Okay. We have one person. That's good. I mean, you don't think? Okay.
No one thinks it's a bubble.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's. So you're saying that the people who don't think? Okay. So who don't think? Okay, that's good. Nobody thinks. That's good. Okay, so second question. How many of you or your teams use ChatGPT or other AI models for 1,000 queries per day?
Not 1,000 queries, but yes, we do.
Around
use
1,000,
it.
around
Yes,
1,000
yes.
average. One,
Yes.
2, 3, 4. Okay, good. Okay, so how many of you, like 100? 100? Okay. Good. Because this whole technology is changing such a fast pace, there are people who are still in dilemma of, whether it's true or not, and there are people who are accepting it, but in a really, lazy phase. They're just using they're happy using ChatGPT in a very basic prompts.
We have become so expert that we don't have to do problem query. We can do it easier. All of us can do it.
True, yeah, with the agent deep research. So if you're doing deep research, you are actually doing, but many people are not using deep research still. So yes, if you're using deep research, which I use a lot of times, yeah, so they are agentic frameworks, and they do a lot of thinking, and they do a lot of queries by themselves. Okay, so some introduction here. Like, we are in the era of reinvention, and what I mean by reinvention is that literally whatever we are doing, however we are doing, it's time for us to rethink that if there is a better way, the faster, better, cheaper way of doing it, and not only at our personal level, but also at our organization level. And literally this redefinition, rethinking of this will help the organizations not only survive, but also become the leader of tomorrow. So it's very important to spend time within your teams and within yourself to figure out what needs to be reinvented. So Genevieve Bell, she is the Intel fellow, and I came to know because they arranged a lecture for our department. I was part of an R&D team at Intel. So she came and gave us a talk, and before I go into details, one thing, Intel hired her to predict the future. So her job was literally to just come and tell what the future will be. And one of the things that she told me was kind of very stick with me, and whoever comes for mentorship and try to help me, ask me question that how, like, mentorship questions, career, I tried to quote her. So I would like to discuss that advice that she gave in that. So she discussed this history and phases of this technology and industrial revolutions. So basically, they divided into 4 phases. The first phase is basically the invention of steam and machines, and that invention, that era was starting like 1760, and that led to the whole revolution, which includes trains, steam-powered trains, as well as factories, powered factories. So that basically was the turning point, and obviously the next phase started when the electricity and this mass production started. And the first invention that happened in that phase was the light bulb and the combustion engines, which led to the invention of cars and aeroplanes. And the third phase start with the computing and automation, the whole information systems. And basically the inventions there are semiconductors, PCs, and internet. And this latest phase is AI era. And I mean, there are a lot of inventions, but something really remarkable that I think is the deep learning and deep convolutional networks, which is basically the foundation of the generative AI. So the thing, why, I mean, at that time I was at Intel, I was doing my job, I was happy, but Intel was funding me for PhD, so I thought, okay, I should do PhD since it was funded, but I want to do something which is meaningful to me. I didn't need degree to get a job. I was already doing a job. So, and then this talk happened, so it helped me choose my topic, and I decided to pursue my research in the area of AI. So, I mean, my message is that it's not just our technology, it's just not another technology. It's the beginning of a new phase, it's a new era. And we have to recognize that this is not, this, we are fortunate, whoever is in this phase can, transform themselves. It's a golden opportunity. Opportunities like those does not come that often. Imagine two people like who were basically, at the time the dot-com boom and the internet comes, the people who are graduating at that time, many of those become millionaires because the opportunity came and they just attempted it and they just boom. So again, we are right now in this era where there's a huge lot of opportunities coming, and we need to really go ahead and grab those opportunities. So one of the things that Jenny Bell, when she left Intel in 2017, she was a big advocate that, okay, this is when this computer science, when this computer science came, then all the universities started having computer science departments. Previously, there were no computer science departments. So now in every university of the world, there is a computer science department. So she thought that, okay, now in this new era, that needs some new learning, which is different from what we have currently. And then she when she left Intel, she was from Australia, and she joined one of the institute where she was the director of this new program, where what she called as new cybernetics. Cybernetics is an old term, but she defined the new cybernetic, and this new cybernetics basically addresses the problems of the AI era and combine the knowledge in that. So basically, she did a lot of work, and it's a very recent work. And I mean, if you look at it right now, all the universities have BS computer science programs. Carnegie Mellon is the only university right now which has introduced BS in AI, and you will see that how fast these AI programs will become more and more common. So this is like a call not only for the education purpose, but also from the organization perspective. So if there will be, all the departments will have an AI department. Similarly, all the businesses will have an AI department. So obviously that needs a lot of reorganization. And so there are a lot of important topics, AI agents. But the challenge with the AI is that it's sometimes people think it as a programming task. Like you write a problem in ChatGPT that gives you a code, and you can run that code, and it does some AI agent work, and you think that your AI agent is ready. It's not really that simple. And I mean, how to make those systems work in AI production, how to think about how they interact with the society, what impact it has on our culture. All these things are very important. Evaluation of those systems just opens up it needs to redefine the whole computer science. So that's the motivation that we really have to think about the AI shift from many different perspectives. Okay, so I mean, I will divide my talk into these 5 pillars of the AI shift. The first one is the AI infrastructure. When we talk about the AI infrastructure, basically there's a lot of AI infrastructure it's called the global AI factory. It happens in the cloud. And then obviously some big organizations are also considering enterprise level AI infrastructures as well. And since this thing is so dynamic, it's changing so rapidly, a lot of learning can be derived from looking at the money, where the money is going, especially from the big players. A lot of their reports, annual reports, quarterly reports, have at least information about the numbers, where this money is going. So just looking at that money gives a lot of value that how things are moving. We're going to look into that. And obviously, when it comes to implementation, we'll discuss that what is the hierarchy of AI needs and how should we go about it. I will discuss some case studies. It's from some big names. I'm working with some local companies. I hope that in a year or so, they may be in a position that they can be they can be represented, but definitely we have good case studies. And then I will a little bit touch about the execution part. I'm sure that a lot of execution is being discussed at the certifications level. I'm not going to go in a lot of details there. So what is the AI infrastructure and ecosystem? So that's very important. We need to understand that, and a lot of changes happening in that infrastructure area. Okay, nice. So basically, when we talk about from a end user point of view, talking about the application, right? And we can run this application at a computer, right? And this application can be running a ChatGPT or can be running any enterprise AI application. But what's happening is that sending the request to the cloud, and in the cloud we have those foundational the models, which are basically in the racks on the servers, and these are very complex engineering systems because the amount of challenges as the technology has scaled down to really nanometer level. There is a lot of cooling, water is going on. There's a lot of things that happens in those racks, and obviously we have within that we have the data coming up, and then we have the storage. So let's look at a very high level from an infrastructure point of view. So if we talk about this 1 gigawatt data center that costs like $80 billion, and out of which land, all the setup, power, infrastructure racks, everything costs like $15 billion, and the compute cost is like $65 billion. And then this $65 billion is basically the AI accelerators, which is basically a combination of GPUs, multiple GPUs, and memory and other peripherals. And then, so basically, this is number 1 gigawatt is more like just for simple calculations. So basically, this translates into 1 million AI accelerators, which includes GPU. So the ecosystem here is basically NVIDIA, Intel, AMD. Historically, they used to be the providers of those GPUs and servers, and then Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Meta were the consumers. But since they see that these people make so much money, like look at the stocks at NVIDIA, this is going just crazy. So all these companies now, literally everyone is investing and have already manufactured their own AI inference chips. So basically, the ecosystem becomes really like mixed up. Intel has their own solution, but they has a solution with Microsoft as well as Amazon. Google has their own TPU. So basically, okay. If you look at the 2024-2025 revenues, it's like roughly for $15 to $40 billion. It's hard to estimate those. So it's based on some reports. And the projection in 2030 is like worst $125 billion, which is with the compound annual growth rate of 30%, let's say. So now, as per the reports from various hyperscalers, the goal is to achieve the capacity of 100 gigawatt. And what IBM CEO recently said is that there is no way to turn a profit at the current cost structures. And if we look at this data, that this AI bubble appear in 42 earning calls and investor conferences in just December and October, and this is basically 740% increase in the last quarter. Basically, this whole maths, if you look at this maths, is really like if you just if the 100 gigawatt needs $8 trillion of capex, then imagine how much revenue will be needed to make this sustainable, and there is no way to achieve that. So basically, right now, if you look at the current outlook of things, the entire AI infrastructure remains very volatile, and they're literally betting on some of the breakthroughs in data center efficiency. So I was recently interviewed by AlphaSense, which is one of the research companies, and basically the co-packaged optics, bringing optics onto the chips, is basically one possible way to address this. And this is such a research mode. It's very this is how the US industry, the industry in US works is really amazing. They make those plans based on those very difficult research goals, and then they make those research successful. So this is breakthrough, the idea of the whole breakthrough programs. So they combine the industry, they create those alliances. So basically many of those, if you look at right now, the possible breakthrough is only coming from one technology, which is co-packaged optics, by bringing a fiber on the silicon. And I mean, many industries, many big players are working together with billions of dollars of investment. So basically now there are concerns, and these concerns are from a different perspective. Another concern is from a geopolitical perspective, that the heart of those computation is GPUs. And if you talk about the high-end GPUs, let's say NVIDIA H100 and above, they really matters, because let's say if we compare them to the previous generation, they're really efficient, they save a lot of power. And the one which is coming up, let's say if this co-packaged optics comes, is going to be like 4x more efficient in power. But in 2023, US basically passed this law that we will not going to export these high-end GPUs to China. And obviously that includes Pakistan as well. So basically, these government restrictions are playing a big role if you want to do something high-end with this technology. And these geopolitical concerns, I'm just using one example, there are a few other examples as well, just to keep it simple. So basically, if you're talking about enterprise AI, then this is important. I have seen many organizations and where the engineer does not know, okay, I can do this, I have downloaded the Ulama and I have made a code, I can now run the open source model from OpenAI in my own computer. So it means that we can do basically on-prem AI, and we will save a lot of money. But I mean, you really need to look at the bigger picture. It's not about serving one person. It's about serving application which is going to serve many different hundreds of thousands of people. And for that, you will immediately run into all these problems, GPUs. And if you want to procure a high-end GPU, you cannot even do that. So obviously, the strategy part is very important. Any planning here has to consider all these geopolitical areas as well. So, if you want to operationalize AI in your business, the internal infrastructure needs are very important. I touched briefly in my previous slide that this infrastructure could be so complex, can have so many components, and a lot of engineering involved. So we have to really think from this MVP perspective, minimum viable product perspective, if you want to do something serious. It's very easy to come up with, increase your needs, and I need on-premise because I want privacy. I mean, I want this and I want that. But it's very important to think from a minimum viable perspective and define your needs. And then other thing is that what is the readiness of your enterprise? How mature is your organization in terms of the management of data? Because AI really comes at the very finest layer of data management. You need to have some basics in place. You need to have good layer of ETLs and whatnot. So cloud versus on-prem I already discussed. So basically, I'm really a big fan of Professor Bent from Oxford. Especially like the theory, the models that he has shown from the risk analysis, and shows how IT projects can be can be overrunning the cost, especially if they run into these black swan projects where the overrun can be by 400%. And we're talking about AI, we're talking about literally like huge black swans that are related to the geopolitical issues and the cost and so many other things. So now so far I was talking investment money from AI infrastructure perspective. So let's look at the money from AI investment from in a broader perspective. So when this 2025 started with this AI gold rush, and this AI gold rush is real, and it is evident by those numbers. For example, Amazon put 125 billion investments in their capex for AI infrastructure. So that 125 billion investment was not a joke. Similarly, Google mid-year increased their capex investment that they wanted to put like $75 billion to $85 billion based on the data that they've seen in 2025. So mid-year, July 23, 2025. And then similarly, Meta planned 72 billion on AI capex, and then mid-year they invested like 15 billion on an silicon on scale AI for data generation. So then I think by the time we reached the mid-year, we started seeing some bad news. So basically, this news came where this company whose AI was actually like 700 humans in India, right? And it was funded by Microsoft and some big players. So basically, there was a lot of claims and a lot of very big. The thinking was that okay, we can do so quickly, but things were not materializing as quickly. And then we started to see these kind of news. There's another news by the report by MIT, which basically showed that 95% of the basically prototypes were failing. That from a survey which is done on like 1900 organizations. And then they showed the data, how much cost has decreased within business units from the AI use. So basically, I mean, there is consistent data that 7 companies were able to decrease the cost by more than 20% in software engineering, and then 14 companies were able to 14% companies were able to decrease the cost by 11 to 19%. I think this decrease by 10%, I don't believe, because when you make a change, you want to improve significantly because there is a cost associated to change. So I would not consider it as an improvement. It's like still the same thing because there's always an investment cost. So again, but there is a consistent data that people who are able to adopt and execute it, people were able to execute it and bring improvements. So basically, I mean, now, like as we are ending 2025, there is a clear evidence that AI works. AI, there are challenges, there are risks, which we need to watch. But at the same time, if we manage those risks and we execute in a good manner, we should be able to bring improvements. And as the time goes on, as more technology matures more, things will become better. So I'm not able to bring the money from a budget's perspective. This is something which is important if you are planning, we are planning to, because this reference labs forecasting method for the forecasting of the projects. I mean, we need to have good benchmarks where we can see that, if we implemented this project with those parameters, what were the budgets? And then if you want to repeat that, then that could be a good reference for forecasting. We don't have those numbers yet, but I think this is a good opportunity for PMI chapter to, bring those case studies and bring how the budget is being, what is the budget being used. But overall, I think this report from McKinsey company, there are 2 takeaways that I see. One thing is that, for example, this is the groups is by the size of the company in terms of the revenues from 100 million to all the way 5 billion or more. And I mean, you can see that the companies who are fully scaled, who are able to use AI to do all the scaling, their number is relatively more at the bigger size. And one of the reasons is that they are able to fund the AI in the due manner, and they were able to do the scaling, whereas this number is relatively smaller. So that shows that, I mean, it's not like very short-term projects. It's like it needs good strategic thinking and basically skill set and the team building. And the second thing is that right now, if you are following updates on LinkedIn, it seems that you're always you're far behind. Everyone is ahead of you, and especially when people post on LinkedIn, a lot of exaggeration comes as well. So if you look at those companies which are less than $100 million, 39% are still experimenting. So we are not left behind. We are still, there are a lot of people who are experimenting at this time, and It's not a problem if you have not build your AI strategy or not executing. You can continue experimenting and make a goal to complete your AI first strategy. Things that I found many times companies doing mistake is that they just jump into, there are two categories. One category is that they want to cope up with AI, so they start buying AI tools. And once they start buying AI tools, they think that they are AI ready and they are now AI company. That's a big misconception. Buying AI tools does not make you an AI company. Yes, that brings you closer to AI. But what really makes you AI company is that you are AI first in your products. Your customer experience is based on AI. Your internal business process improvements are AI driven. That makes you really an AI first company. And while there's no harm in buying AI tools and use them, but the real transformation comes when you adopt AI learning and optimization in all of your business process improvements, customer experiences. So the challenge that I see that many people don't want to look like they are behind, so they just want to use some bunch of AI tools and think that they are ready. But if you look at their timelines, they're not really ready. For example, one of the company I was talking to, and they work with design services, and we talked about that. Okay, I mean their design data that they have been producing for thousands of customers could be very valuable. So we talked about, okay, let's set up a goal that we can, make your company AI first, and let's do something about it. So it was a good meeting. The next meeting, when we met, they told me that they have already, initiated the project, and the project is going to bring all the designs that they have done historically into one area, and they're super excited. But I told them that, what are you going to do with those designs? I mean, this repository of multiple designs, even humans cannot get any value. How do you expect that AI would get value from it? You need to have a good metadata knowledge base attached to those designs, so that once you fed it into your AI systems, then they can learn from it. So the way to go about it is to build a step-by-step pipeline, and that starts from collection of data. And it's not about only collecting the real product, it's about collecting the whole value chain. Everything that comes in the value chain, whatever you can collect will help you, especially if you know how AI can learn and how you can do a lot of things if you have a very valuable data. So once we can collect the data, and then we can use multiple ETL structures to move the data, then we can transform that data. And then a lot of things, if you have a data in the good format, you don't even need AI to do a lot of good things. You can start doing analytics, you can do a lot of anomaly detection without doing very complex AI algorithms. Using very simple algorithms, you can get very valuable insights from data. And then obviously, if you have a historical data which has good labels with it, this can become open the door of a lot of AI and deep learning. And I mean, since we have already seen generative AI, a lot of work we do, we generate something. So if you have a good base of data, then you can always plan a generative AI that can generate things. And even if it is not a generation use case, just doing a very advanced analytics using AI is super useful. I mean, a lot of projects happening where they're using video and audio with the help of AI, which was not possible without AI, and doing really transformative projects. But again, it's very important to have that step-by-step approach. You cannot jump from, I mean, this journey from collection to in a big organization is not like a month, it's literally years. So while we are excited about this peak, I think if your organization has not done this, then definitely it's a long journey. It's a multi-year journey, and that has to be planned and executed properly. So the main like the fascination of AI, if you want to do at our organization level, is the learn and optimize, the peak of that pyramid. What we can do is that we have those generative AI models. We can fine tune those models. Something which is least explained in the LinkedIn. LinkedIn is really powerful in today's. I do a lot of things which are not coming in the books, are coming on the LinkedIn. It's really powerful, but the autonomous learning is something which is least defined. Still, people think that these LLM-based model agents are autonomous agents. No, the models are static, so you're not literally interactive learning is not happening until you put a model fine-tuning in the loop. And then when you have fine-tuning and you are doing that in a relatively shorter period, that model can become more towards autonomous learning. And then again, this is a very big topic. I'm not going to go into the detail that what is the power of deep learning and convolutional neural networks, and how can they be used to create just unlimited number of products based on your data, if you have a good number of good data. So yes, I think the really important part that I want to emphasize and I want you to take away is that really at this point, if you want to do something remarkable at your organization, try to build AI first business strategy, because it's very important. It's very difficult. It's very hard to come up with the organization wide strategy which really put AI first. I mean, that really needs a lot of knowledge of AI, that how can you think that how can you redefine your customer experience based on AI, and not only that, how can you create a lot of products based on your data that you have already. So it's so we need to start working on it, create working groups. And so companies that excel at this top layer, they are really the ones which are going to be leading the future. So I'm going to share a few case studies. I hope I'm not going too fast. Please stop. It's going good, right? We have some. We are. How am I doing the time? 15 minutes? 10 minutes? Okay. So the Uber published this case study in 2024. This is right after 2023 is the generative AI big year, because they allow instructions to modify the behavior of the models. Before 2023, there are a lot of neural network models, but these models were not changing their behavior. So 2023 is when you can pass instructions to the models, and then you can make them work for like an agent for you or do multiple tasks for you. So this happened in 2023 and 2024. Uber's case study is prominent in that sense. They were like really the early adopters of AI in that sense. And they did something was simple. They have a lot of queries, customer query support, and they basically two things. They basically natural language to SQL conversion using Gen AI, and with that they're able to improve 18% productivity gains, and then which basically 9.5 queries per day to 3 queries per day. The reduction in queries because they're able to create more better response, and then the time to generate query become better as well. So a lot of people, like if you think from local perspective, you will not see a lot of case studies coming very quickly, because it's kind of your business advantage. You try to keep your competitive advantage kind of secret to a certain extent. But big companies try to. Some of the big companies are open in sharing. Like Intel is very secretive in terms of anything they do. So IBM is also prominent in that sense, is that they did this client zero approach. Like they make themselves the first client of AI, being a very excellent service oriented company. They create those multiple AI agents for almost anything in their business operations, and they try to automate that using AI. And they basically reported 3.5 billion AI productivity boost. And it is evident from the software basically software base that they have shared with the industry as well. So, I mean, that gives us this key lesson that we want to treat AI implementation as like a strategic program running in the company, not like, scattered projects. So, healthcare is prominent in the sense they're not one player, there are many people who are doing really good work in that category. And one of the prominent use cases of where AI is being successful and delivering value is the documentation part. That documentation is always time consuming. Like you go to doctor and he's not talking to you, he's just looking at the computer and documenting while you are sharing your problems. So the AI can be used not only for intake, like reducing that documentation to step before, where the AI agent interact with the patient before he arrives in the clinic and gets all the data. And then during the consultation, we have this speech to text systems that basically translate, convert that speech into text, and that does the documentation. And then the after visit summaries and follow-up questions. Because you have everything documented, you can create an AI agent that basically respond to the customer queries. So the doctor satisfaction and customer satisfaction improved. I didn't find like good numbers on this. This is being done in US and many other places. I didn't see any good numbers, but I think it's definitely very impactful. Yep, so generic, which can literally applies to all the professionals, like they do some sort of documentation. So if healthcare documentation, which is so restricted and so many constraints, if they can benefit from AI agents, they're literally like, project management, there's so much documentation there as well. AI agents can be tremendous help, answering questions, answering policies, so many things. So the value of the AI agents within the documentation work is huge in literally any field that you can think about. So it's a very promising area. So I mean, we just look at 3 different industry examples, all looking different, very diverse use case. AI promises, AI delivering value, AI delivering impact is very clear. And so again, the call to action here is that you can leverage that. You need to work on your AI build. I mean, okay, if you don't want to work on AI first strategy, at least have some AI strategy and engage your team, build those, define those projects, get them sponsored with your stakeholders. And then, but literally if you want to do something really powerful, build and execute the AI first strategy. So I mean, some of the do's and don'ts in the project in the AI projects are not very different from what we study in project management. But the thing that is making AI very different is that if you look at there's the evaluation in QA, right? So in software engineering, there are a lot of softwares that do evaluation and that do unit tests and quality testing. But when it comes to the AI, your unit test becomes very different. So it's not about like if you think in terms of the AI agent perspective, it's not about my software performing on a small block, but it's like basically my agent performing on a small task. And that unit test is basically the test that involves multiple components. If you are on cloud, so involving all the components, and that really opens up makes this area more complex. So all the basics the fundamentals are same, but when it comes to AI, the complexity increases. There are a lot of components involved. We have to rethink a lot on how we are going to do the same thing that we have been doing elsewhere in a different way. So for that, the right team is very important. Unfortunately, the expertise and the knowledge of the developers in Pakistan is not at that level, but definitely this can be arranged through some resources. And obviously the governance of data, and because a lot of things are going on cloud, it's very important to look at your data. And one thing I was just talking is that it's very basically makes project management kind of feel less valuable, not really less valuable, is when you're doing experimentation. Because you literally don't need to use a lot of frameworks to do the experiments. You need a process to follow to do the experimentation. So basically, the R&D nature is basically, it's kind of sometimes it's the genetics of an organization. So organizations who are good in executing at or operations there cannot do, sometimes they cannot do R&D at a good pace. So have to have a right balance, that how can you do like start small and iterate. And so basically sometimes you really have to break the rules. If you have a organization with a PMO and a lot of frameworks for doing a project, you literally don't need anything for doing experiments. You want to simplify everything for allowing your teams to do experiments. Because if you want to create a report which needs hundreds of forms to be filled, then it's just going to be counterproductive for your organization. And obviously, like the measurement and the ROI, that also becomes different in many different ways because of the social aspect of the AI as well. And in terms of don'ts, I think what's important is that there are a lot of shiny things that are coming. The generative AI, basically we have ChatGPT, then the agent comes, then the MCP comes, multi-chain protocol, and then so like if you keep just chasing all the advancements that are coming without finishing one thing, is not going to be very productive. It's very important to be very focused, laser focused, what you need for your strategy, and just be very restrictive to that only. And fundamentals are same, but again there are some differences that you still need to do within the boundaries of fundamentals. One of the most important thing is that the pipeline that I shared, you have to have a good framework of data, starting from collection, moving, analytics, and then the next levels. Human factor, and then evaluation, iteration, I already mentioned, is super important. Evaluating AI agents, evaluating your LLMs is something very different from what is happening in conventional software engineering. So with that, I think I will wrap up the discussion. So we are no longer in this area of just experimenting with AI. We have seen those case studies. We have seen the numbers, investment numbers, that are basically like people are investing when there is a real meat in something. So there is we really need to operationalize AI as our core business strategy. And again, the companies that are ready, that they have already everything below this learn and optimize their best shape, they should not stop. They should really immediately jump into bringing AI learning and optimization. AI optimization is a very powerful area. You can do very powerful optimizations using neural networks and machine learning algorithms. But if you are not there, then don't jump ahead. Make sure that you can still come up with a fast-paced strategy using minimum viable product. You don't need to implement everything at the same time, but you can take a slice of the plan, and then take a small segment of your business, and then implement everything in that as a proof of concept before you go into a bigger, longer program that is going to basically, and when you are working on this minimum viable product, you can actually find out all the race, challenges, problems, and then a good knowledge base, so that later on when you are implementing it on a whole company wide, then you can actually do it in a much better way. So that's the end of my discussion. Yes, please.
My name is Fahad, and I'm working one of the leading textiles. I'm a director of the power generation and utilities distribution. हमारे पास डेटा तो बहुत है, जैसे हमारे पास एक टेक्सटाइल के अंदर विंड टर्बाइन भी लगा हुआ है, बैटरी स्टोरेज भी है, सोलर भी है, ग्रिड भी है, डीजल इंजन्स भी है, स्टीम का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन भी है. We have everything on the SCADA. Now I need to integrate it into the algorithms. हमारे पास algorithms के भी inputs हैं, इसको कैसे हम input दें और हमारा optimize हो जाए system. तो do you recommend any company which can work for us? मैं उसको ढूंढ रहा हूँ online कि जो हमारे लिए AI का system design करे इनपुट सारे हैं, सेंसर्स सारे हैं, एल्गोरिदम्स भी हैं, कब क्या चल रहा है वो भी पता है, लेकिन सडन चेंजेस बहुत ज़्यादा है। हमारा जो एनर्जी कॉस्ट है वो है 140 मिलियन रुपीस पर मंथ, ठीक है ना। 140 करोड़ रुपए हमारा एनर्जी का कॉस्ट है महीने का। तो उसको अगर हम 3, 4, 5% भी ऑप्टिमाइज कर लें, एक कंपनी की बात कर रहा हूँ, तो देयर आर 1600 कंपनीज अक्रॉस द पाकिस्तान। वो सॉफ्टवेयर हमसे डिप्यूट कर सकते हैं हर जगह पे। तो उसके लिए मैं आपसे मशवरा ये चाह रहा हूँ, आई नीड टू हैव दिस AI कंपनी which can integrate my own brain, my own SCADA into the optimization of the power generation and everything. I couldn't find that thing. Labels तो आपका देख लिया, हमारे पास सेंसर्स है, लेबल्स है, अब उसको इंटीग्रेट करवाना है। उसके लिए हम कैसे इसको आगे चले, एक सवाल तो ये था। दूसरा सवाल ये है, आपने बताया कि 8 ट्रिलियन का मार्केट है, मार्केट शेयर है, अभी हम 2030 तक देखते हैं 8 ट्रिलियन का मार्केट शेयर इन द AI बबल बना हुआ है एंड ऑल दैट। व्हाट डू यू थिंक पाकिस्तान में पहले क्या इन्वेस्टमेंट किया जाए? आप समझते हो कि ये अभी गैप है AI के अंदर, पाकिस्तान के अंदर ये चीज हम डेटा सेंटर या कोई चीज ऑपरेट या कोई ऐसी चीज हम इन्वेस्टमेंट कर सकें जो इस गैप को हम पूरा कर सकें, एज यू आर लुकिंग फॉर द US मार्केट, पाकिस्तान में क्या चीज हम स्टार्टअप कर सकते हैं?
Great. Regarding the company which can help you, I'm new right now. I don't know the exact partners, but I know that for any SCADA system, Siemens is very powerful, and I have worked with the branch or sister company of Siemens, which is Mentor Graphics, but they work in the semiconductor space, and they have very advanced AI systems. So they may not be ready to launch this in Pakistan yet, but that's definitely we can discuss this offline, and we can think how can you progress on this. Definitely there will be ways and paths to if you have data already ready and curated like in places which in the database, you don't need to rely on really huge company. You can still if there is no like outsource solutions ready, then you can think about some implementation.
Eventually, people are controlling manually. वो डेटा को भी देखते हुए सोलर का क्लाउड भी आ गया, बैटरी में पावर आ गया, बैटरी ने पावर दे दिया, तो ये भी मैनुअली कंट्रोल हो रहा है। इंजन स्टार्ट होता है तो है
दैट के ऑटोमेटिकली सारा इंटीग्रेटेड हो जाए, हमारे को मैन पावर कम करना पड़े। जब तक हमारे पास ये फिक्स कॉस्ट होती है लोगों की, 300 बंदे चला रहे, 400 बंदे पावर हाउस चला रहे, तो हम जब तक हम अपने आप को इंटीग्रेट नहीं करेंगे, डेटा तो सारा है, उसमें भी एक ह्यूज इन्वेस्टमेंट है, वो कर लिया। अब उसको इंटीग्रेट करके एक ब्रेन चाहिए जो ऑपरेशंस को कंट्रोल करे और एल्गोरिथम ले और खुद ही बिल्ड इन करे।
So वो talking about collecting data, like if they are changing, not following the systems, then still you need to work on your collection systems.
Yes.
So collection systems is still, because अगर आप data holistically collect नहीं हो, आपको फिर जो है वो, मगर जो data आपके पास already आ रहा है, that can be made valuable. So we can definitely
that's the question. Further. We need to start something. कहाँ से?
It's a big question, so we can discuss further. How can we do that? Okay.
Sure.
Question that Saudi Arab is investing on data centers, right? Why they are doing it? If there is a data center in US that can serve them, they have such an amazing relationship. So there is definitely, like, we're talking about this that AI infrastructure is not profitable, but who is making the profit here? Nvidia, right? And Intel, who are selling their GPUs, and these companies making a lot of profit. And then, on the other hand, if you look at a national level, I talked about those restrictions, right? There are restrictions which allow you to buy those high-performance GPUs, which are very powerful, like which can allow you to do a lot of things real time, which means that you can build very fast defense systems as well, which you cannot do. So definitely at the macro level, at the national level, we need to invest in this technology. I mean, we should have done it a very long time back, but there's still, there's never too late. And now, what is going to be the first step is something we need. It depends on our SWOT analysis and where do we exist.
For the data centers, energy cost is very high. You need to figure it out. बहुत चाहिए. So you need to find out where we can implement the data centers.
Computing became hello. So when the computing became common for the common people, it was when we moved from the mainframes to the personal computers. So I think for the adoption of the AI, the third world countries like us would be needing SLMs instead of the LLMs, because otherwise would we always be dependent upon the US like people who would always have the hold on either the H100s or something like that. So do you see that there is a chance of having some SLMs at the national level, which will be useful for us as a country?
Yeah, if we have some good research department and good collaboration with industry, this is something we could do. But and they will do things that makes the most sense for them from a money perspective. So definitely, if SLM's technology become mature and you can actually run on a large scale AI models on SLMs, that definitely would be a very viable path. But again, we are dependent on the market, on these big systems, on these big players for them to serve us. Okay, so I think we can. Oh, please.
What is the maturity level of setting up AI infrastructure in Pakistan? Because I know India is investing a lot of making a lot of investment in AI data center and everything. Where we are at this point in
I don't know. I
time?
mean, it's a good question, but not work on any country where they have a corruption. They have to pay the money out of. They will not do any single business. They were once ready to the Pakistan's. Mr. Umar from Pakistan was the director of their manufacturing for like literally 15, 20 years. And then when the guy was retiring, I was like begging them, "Can you?" There's a guy in Pakistan government that I was connected to, and I tried to connect them together, but there was no interest because I mean, there are a lot of challenges that we have to fix before we become ready for bringing some really high tech technology.
So that's a bottleneck for setting up the AI infrastructure in Pakistan.
Yeah,
That's
right.
because you see, data center is a prerequisite for this AI
Yeah,
infrastructure.
because a very investment intensive project.
About that. Actually, we are all talking about data and always data. So, do we have to optimize our processes also while we move to or shift to AI process AI models?
So one thing that I see fundamental that without AI, when you're collecting data, you have a different perspective, right? Now with AI, when you collect data, I mean there is a very big value in the knowledge base, right?
Right.
Then the more knowledge, the more useful, the more related knowledge, the whole value chain you have. So that definitely calls for changing your process to collect more data because you may not be collecting this data because you don't know. It would be useful for AI for labeling. Let's say the customer experience, the feedback, or maybe some internal meetings, stakeholder feedback.
Right.
But later on, if you are integrating everything with the help of AI and generative AI can understand everything, it becomes very valuable. But again, I mean, it's not must. It's definitely like more data is good, right? But if you want to go for MEP, then whatever you have, you can start from there as well.
Right. Got it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's definitely part of this pipeline, but obviously you don't need tool and technique, right? It's a tool which you can fix anywhere. So the software that helps you collect data can use AI, but you can use open source off the shelf tools to collect data, right?
Do we have any organization across the world that governs the no-go areas of sensitive sectors? Do we have any kind of limits that these are not the areas that AI can address, or it is limitless?
Yeah, the biggest investment on AI is from US government. Intel big manufacturing fab is owned by Intel, by the US government. Nobody allowed to go there who is not from the US government there. So basically, it's the most the drones and ARs, VRs are the biggest beneficiaries of AI technologies because they have sensors. And so far, the reason they are not performing good is that they cannot process those sensors really fast. So basically, you're getting images, you're getting videos, but you're not processing those images and videos. Now, with the help of AI, you can do a very fast analysis on AI on the primary beneficiary. Your defense systems are going to be the most beneficiary of all the AI technologies. And that's why there is a restriction from US from exporting those high-end processes because they don't want other people to get benefit from it. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks everyone for attending.
Yeah, I already तो मैंने को पकड़ लिया। कल मेरी इनसे बात नहीं क्योंकि ये इंजीनियर हो चुके हैं, बन चुके हैं, तो प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर से तो इंजीनियर इंसान को ना बहुत शौक होता है, सब बता दूं मैं टेक्नोलॉजी टेक्निकली कैसे चल रहा है। तो मैंने उसको भाई बता के वास्ते अपना इंजीनियर थोड़ा साइड में कंट्रोल में रखता है, लोगों को थोड़ा सा what has happening around the world outside Pakistan we need to know more about. So I hope you get a glimpse of it. Yes. And this is just a beginning. He's here for some time. So during dinner time, we may reach out to him. कैसे एनर्जी कम कर सकते हैं क्या है तमाम बातें करेंगे क्या the phase of this session we will introduce the concept of a chief guest. Today's chief guest is very special. Somebody has told me the role model. I was thinking, professor भी रहा हूँ क्या I was a co-worker. I worked with him. And we all know him very well. So somebody who loves technology and lives technology the way business is being done. Technology business जो run करना is not so. So AI की integration कहाँ होगी कैसे होगी वो जाहिर सी बात है different perspective रखते हैं. So without wasting any time, I would request Rifar Saab, Pakistan, somebody to please give a big round of applause.
Good to be here. Very good listening to you. Thank you very much. Great insight. अच्छा मैं मतलब फाद ऐसी कहते उल्टी सीधी बकवास कर लेता हूँ. I would be much rather interested if anyone wants me to talk about something related to technology, but even otherwise, which maybe I have a different perspective and you may want to get my perspective as someone who has spent 4 decades now in IT and telecom. So I used to work for a company called NCR, Teradata, amongst few Pakistanis, but definitely the first Pakistani who was leading the company when we set up Pakistan's first global delivery center by any MNC in Pakistan. Teradata set up its global delivery center, then I was able to replicate it when I was in Nokia to set up Europe, Middle East, Africa delivery center in Pakistan. So I have a bit of experience in technology and telecom. So would be happy to talk about things which may be of interest to you. But I can just give few things because AI pe baat ho rahi thi. How do I see AI? So let's just start from that. I don't think we have understood the impact of AI today. Definitely not in this country, but that's not a surprise. We don't like to understand things before. We like to understand things when water has crossed the bridge, right? And by then it is too late, right? But even globally, I don't think we have understood the impact. So somebody asked me, what do you think AI will do? And I gave him a hypothetical use case, and he was in disbelief. Said, this is not going to happen. And said, okay, let me give you this. So the way I see the world moving, and you can then extrapolate it into many other industries, is that you have a health problem. You know, you were talking about health, and a lot of use cases are already there, and many will come. And I see someone having a health problem, and I see AI diagnosing, but it won't end there. Then I see AI taking actions on it. Then I see AI passing all the recommendations and prescription to a robot. Then I see AI scheduling an operation, and robot will do the operation. And it will be more precise than a doctor doing. And the guy said, not happening. And I said, why? He said, there's no way in hell anyone will risk his life to a machine. Because that's not going to happen. And I said, well, think again. So if those of us who travel, and especially those of us who have traveled to West Coast in recent times, would see Waymo. And the number is increasing. I've traveled quite a bit in the last 1.5, 2 years to the valley, and I'm just amazed with the way numbers are increasing for Waymo and Google self-driven cars. So when you sit in a car and it's driving at 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, haven't you given your life to AI or machine? So it's happening today. So anyone telling me I don't see it happening, you don't know what you're talking about, because as we speak, it is happening today, and that's a very basic use case of AI where the car, based on the data, based on what it sees, make intelligent decision, right? And makes a decision when to slow down, when to go, when to change lanes, when to stop, just like you make. And you can just give instructions that you're going to, for example, from here to airport, and suddenly you decide, oh, you forgot something and you want to go back home. So take me home, and it will take you home. Right. Real. So it can happen. The other impact I see of AI, and those of us who've been in technology business for years or decades, as I am, globally speaking, in technology, not in telecom. Telecom is a slightly different beast, but in IT, anyone spending $50 million, $100 million, $200 million was big money, right? It's penalized. Think about the kind of investments going into AI. 10 billion is small investment. 100 billion, now you're talking. 150 billion, 200 billion, 500 billion. And these are numbers which are coming in every single day. Now, people say, oh, it's AI bubble. It will be like .com bubble. Nonsense. It's not. These companies are not idiots. And the world which is driving it is much smarter than what we think. Right? So if companies are investing billions, we are talking about economies growing to trillions, and in not too distant future. And think about the impact it makes to the world, in my view, in a very positive way in many cases. In some cases, it will of course be negative. Right. I see economies expanding, and one of the World Economic Report, because again, before I come back to this topic, there's one thing I've heard about technology since I started my career in 1985. So I recall going to a large bank, which is one of the largest banks now in Pakistan, और हम payroll की एक application बेच रहे थे, right? Way back, 38, 39 years ago. And I went to, back then मुझे नहीं पता क्या कहते थे उनको, general manager, accountant, accounts, या whatever, but somehow N-1 to a CFO, right? And I introduced him and I told him that's why here. He threw me out of his office. And he said, you MNC guys, you are American agents, right? और तुम हमारी नौकरियों के पीछे पड़ गए हो, इस मुल्क में नौकरियों का वैसे ही काल पड़ा हुआ है, तो तुम लोग ये करते हो, निकल जाओ यहाँ से, यार ये सब नहीं होगा, मैं ये खाता register. Interestingly, 40 years down the road, same discussion happening now. तो यार AI किधर से आएगा, इस मुल्क में नौकरियों का वैसे ही काल है, आना ही आना है, लिख के रख, बिजनेसेस में आना है, गवर्नमेंट्स में आना है. उस वक्त तक हम और पीछे चले जाएंगे, दुनिया और आगे चली जाएगी, गैप पड़ जाएगा, लेकिन आने ही आना, राइट? सो डोंट स्केप. It is going to come, and it is going to come in a way that possibly we are not envisaging today, and it will touch every single segment of the society in ways you cannot imagine today. So better to be prepared for it, otherwise we are already sadly left behind as a nation. We'll be left behind even more unless we've put our house in order and stop having a rear-end view of the country or the businesses. You've got to have a front-end view. You can't reach your destination by having a rear view all the time. Rear view is there to learn. Rear view is not there to continue to look at it and hoping that you will reach the destination. It's not happening, right? Because it doesn't happen. So we need to be a lot more forward-looking. Couple of other points not related to AI. By the way, since I'm a salesman as well all my life, so textile का कोई सवाल था, आपको मसला हो हमारे पास आ जाइए. So in last 1 year, we have delivered over 100 use cases just in the US market on AI, right? And we are aggressively growing the footprint, and we are working with a couple of textile mills in Pakistan on very interesting use cases. but they're all custom use cases. So of course, product is not that. Um, One of the things my global CTO used to say when I used to work for NCR and Teradata, and Akbar, my ex-colleague, is sitting here. He would possibly remember, and he would ask me, if people ask you which business you are in, so what's your response? And somebody will say, I'm in textile, or I'm in retail, or I'm in healthcare, or I'm in technology. And you say, no, we are all in relationship business. Remember this. That's all there is to it. So AI, in my view, is going to be a very strong tool as well to build relationships. Because the social media, the kind of data it is generating, it will start to be used to build more relationships and foster greater collaboration than what we do today. Right? The other thing he used to say, which is even more interesting and profound, especially for anyone who's sitting from the tech industry, but also from the business side. And so people say, I have a technology problem. And back then, which is now 20 years ago or possibly more, he would say, there are no technology problems in this world. There are business problems that you were talking about. And that's it. Technology solves business problems. So there are no technology problems. Any feature that exists in any software that you buy is solving a business problem. The problem, sadly, and I've been part of it, with our technology industry, and I don't care whether they've been on the vendor side, people like me, or whether they've been on the customer side, they've always implemented features. They have never solved business problems. That's why Pakistan tech industry hasn't grown the way it should have grown. And those of us who are in tech industry, but those of you who are in business as well, never buy technology. Not even from me. And I'm a good guy. Buy solutions. And then see how technology fits in. Right? And you will see the impact of technology. Rather than always talking about, यार ये टेक्नोलॉजी वाले पैसे बहुत लेते हैं, करते कराते कुछ नहीं. वो इसलिए नहीं करते कि आपने कभी उनको बिजनेस प्रॉब्लम नहीं बताया, उन्होंने कभी आपको नहीं बताया कि मैं बिजनेस प्रॉब्लम कैसे हल करूंगा. बिकॉज मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द टेक्नोलॉजी पीपल, सॉरी टू से, दे डोंट इवन अंडरस्टैंड बिजनेस. हाउ डू यू सर्व बिजनेस इफ यू डोंट अंडरस्टैंड? It doesn't work. And these are very basic. And I've seen it happening over and over again. And sadly, we haven't learned. I still see, people in this country are very fine paying for hardware. Try charging for AI. Gaiga free mein de. How nonsensical. अच्छा, मजे की बात एक और बताऊँ आपको. मुझे यार बता देना, बाद में बातें करने पे आता हूँ तो रुकता नहीं. So about a year ago, we had some problem that I needed a solution on, and I asked my CFO to talk to our auditors and ask them to give us some advice. And we pay them retainer, and we pay them yearly fee, and all the razzmatazz that goes with it. And he came back to me and he said, yeah, but they are asking for 1.2 million. What the hell, man? I mean, they're on retainer, man. This is something, and it's a small advice. Now, he's a CFO, he's a chartered accountant. He said, no, that's their service. So a customer defending a vendor, in this case an auditor, saying he deserves that fee because he's charging you for the time. Right? Take this to a technology industry. If I had said exactly the same thing to a technology problem, and somebody had come back to me with a bill of 1.2 million, I wouldn't have even gone to the boss. I said, "तो free में करो." टेक्नोलॉजी इंडस्ट्री के लोगों की बात करूं, शर्म से डूब के मर जाना चाहिए, जितने भी टेक के लोग हैं. एंड आई डोंट केयर हूं. आप स्वीपर को सर्विस के पैसे दे देते हैं, स्वीपर को, और पता है किस चीज के पैसे देते हैं? और कभी सोचें कि आपका मेरे ऑफिस के लोग मेरी इस मिसाल को बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं करते, लेकिन मैं शेयर कर दूँ। आपके घर में किसी तरह वजह से गटर भारी है, ठीक है, पाकिस्तान में जो नॉर्मल प्रॉब्लम है, कोई ऐसी बात नहीं। आप क्या करें? आप किसी स्वीपर को बुलाएंगे या जो आपके आके क्लीन अप कर दे, राइट? एंड somebody will call him and he'll come, and by that time the sewerage has started working fine. Somehow something was a problem and it got addressed. This is how we treat it. अच्छा, उन्हीं लोगों से फिर फतवे दिलवा लो कि देखें जी टेक नहीं अच्छी होती, right? So we got to value technology, because this is our future. If we continue to treat them as trash, and on the vendor side, if we continue to like to be get treated as trash, then we deserve to be where we are. So that's just the second point. Please remember, business is the driver of technology, not other way around, right? And just last point, and something you touched upon as well, documentation, be it through AI or be it otherwise, I don't care. We have a natural disdain for documentation and processes and systems. Someone will have a wet dream at night, wake up in the morning and say, I'll make a software. उसका सेठ या बॉस भी बड़ा खुश होगा, ये बना दो, ठीक है यार। अगर इतना ही आसान होता सॉफ्टवेयर तो दुनिया पागल की, कितने बिलियन की आपने बताया, 600 बिलियन या व्हाटएवर उसकी रिसर्च हो रही। सॉफ्टवेयर इज एज प्रिसाइज एज इट कैन गेट, इट टेक्स टाइम टू बिल्ड, इट टेक्स टाइम। आप घर बना सकते हैं बगैर आर्किटेक्चर या बगैर ड्राइंग के, आप एक कमरा नहीं बना सकते, हम खड़े खड़े सॉफ्टवेयर बना देते। So there is serious wisdom in paying attention to comprehensiveness of documentation, details of documentation, and then following that documentation and making changes as and when required. So all tech people, all those who are implementing projects, because this is a PMI thing, my advice to them, don't start a project if you don't have the documentation right. It will save you time. You may want, in your exuberance, you want to start early, want to finish early. I get all of that. You will finish early if you start well. Famous quote, a stitch in time saves nine. Right? So planning is half done. And no better application of this phrase than in the tech world. So because this is PMI and project management, I can't emphasize enough the importance of comprehensive quality project management methods to be applied in this country, and they need to be respected across all spectrum of businesses. Thank you very much.
There with us, in between us. Mr. Shija Khan, now I would like to call you to proceed further and share your insights, please. Thank you so much.
I'm currently a president of Seminar Dec, and thank you very much for Dr. Abdullah and Muqaddam Shah was already a star when I started my career. So Namaskar has been there for as a beacon for all of us who are in technology. Thank you very much for your kind word. The excellent talk that we heard today is amazing, really. It actually encompasses all the factors that how AI is impacting, what is the budgets that companies are investing, and what companies are investing actually. Like Amazon are sending companies also into AI now and investing heavily. People can understand it quite easily. So that was amazing. This is December, and at PMI Karachi, we are closing with some good news. Like we are having our plus membership, number of members that we have since we started. So there is one thing that we have our finance people telling us that we have good budgets, memberships, and program that we are doing for the professional development education sector is also doing good. So overall, it's a successful year for us, and we hope to do more such seminars and such on such topics that interest all of our industries. This was I just wanted to share with you all, and once again, thank you very much, Dr. Sab and Upar Sab, for coming, and that's about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you.
Last but not least, I would request two board members जो मुझे नजर आ रहे हैं यहीं पे मौजूद हैं एक मजाज साहब and
Thank you. Congratulations. Vice President, Professional Development.
तो मेंबरशिप का बड़ा काम है काविश है और एक one of the team members फैज आज मौजूद नहीं है फैज has been phenomenal वजाहत has been phenomenal so a big round okay. So thank you very much for joining us. एक फोटो लेंगे उसके बाद हम खाने के लिए